Hi, I'm Shotter Aridain, and this is a Wolfteam game review. I decided to make it quick, so this video will be without a script totally. So I'll be just going with my mind as I go, as I pretty much spent way too much time figuring out this broken ass game, as I had nothing better, anything to do. I just sat there and played this game for like a couple of months. So I had pretty much a lot of time figuring out the economical system in the game, how to get the gold and other currencies. The gold and the wolf coin. And I'll say that playing for free is quite a hard task, I will say. Sure, there are ways to get various premium stuff for free, like attending in the events and doing daily missions, but some of them may be easy and some of them will be hard, because if you will be playing against the pay to win players, you're pretty much screwed. Unless you have some very high skills in gaming, that is. But if you're a casual player, I just don't know what to say. I just can't even. And I also forgot to mention that this is a game from 2007, when there was no such thing as matchmaking. And so there is no matchmaking even today. So you're gonna be paired with either newbies, low skill players, and very old high skill players. So coupled with pay to win elements and also cheaters, that's gonna be quite a hard thing to try to get your casual friends to play this game even for free. Another very confusing thing is that game comes in multiple versions. You probably will be playing the recently released Steam version of Team Reboot, which kinda differs from the M&E's non-Steam version. And there is also a Turkish version, which is not available for Europe players, so you gotta use a VPN. And I'm gonna say, wasting your time using to learn to use the VPN for such a game, I think it's absolute waste of time. And an additional headache to figure out how to play this. Oh, when a supposedly simple online FPS turns into some kind of a item management game where you have to spin your head around. I'm just remembering how I spent like entire month doing all these events to do all of these tasks to get these premium items for short time, like spend 2 or 3 hours playing just to get one character for 1 or 3 days and do it again in couple days next. And there's also an attendance event which counts each day you played, so you have to consecutively play for 24 days in 1 month. On paper it sounds simple, but in practice you pretty much turn the game into a job. And also these kill count events where you have to make X amount of frags to get either character or a weapon or any other item for short time, like 1 day or 3 days or maybe 7 days if they feeling generous. Like usual frag events kill count mostly is either 200 or 300 in one day. Yeah, make at least 100 frags in a day in a usual match. And there's multiple tiers of that event, like with even the playtime, like play for 30 minutes, play for 60 minutes, and then 120 minutes. And each tier gives its own rewards. So you first do 30 frags, 60, then 120, and there you go. But with the frag events in the usual match, when you are paired against pay to win and cheaters and stuff, or high skilled players, you pretty much will be taking forever to make that goal. So I just had to take, in order to complete such events like playtime and frag events, I was just using 2 extra PCs, or so to speak, laptops. So I just had spare ones, put a macros on both of them. One was idling, respawning, another was just killing, and then change places. And so that's how I was doing this thing for months, just to get certain characters and weapons for video footage purposes, and not only that, just to figure out how to get items in a way if you're an absolute free player. And I'll say that average time to make 160 frags can take like a half an hour if you do it this way. So yeah, although you don't need to wrap around your head around with macros things like the gaming mouse or the gaming keyboard or some other macros program. Although don't use auto hotkey because auto hotkey game does not allow. Its anti-cheat will restrict it and game will close. So yeah. So you just have to figure out yourself what macros program is not detected by game's anti-cheat. Also, the game has PvE mode where you just take out hordes of enemies wave after wave, and I'll say one thing: it's very hostile for cooperative play because it can crash at any moment if you try to use anything fun. Like, if you use absolutely anything aside ballistic weapons, I mean rifles or shotguns, although scratch that. Last time I used that super shotgun, the game crashed for me. Yeah, the game is very unstable. Let me show you.
3, 2, 1.
Wolfteam.
And if you think that game crashes are the only thing that you need about to worry, no. Here you can see that rocket exploded in thin air. The thing is that enemy corpses do not disappear. Well, visually they are, but problem is that they do not fully disappear. For some reason their phantom corpses are intact. So if you're firing a rocket, for example, it will explode in a place where the corpse was, despite it never there being anymore. Here you will see how I destroy these enemies, and then I will try to shoot a rocket next. Also, when one of your teammates crashes in PvE mode, you're risking that enemies might bug and you may receive such glitch or bug. Invincible enemy. See? It's pretty much impossible to destroy. So, if the game doesn't crash for you and it crashes for your friend, well, you're both screwed most of the time. And you may ask, why you should do these PvE mode missions? I mean, they give out these Wolf Rush boxes. I mean, the ones you do in the boss fights have better loot, but still they will last like one day or couple of days, but mostly one day, which are weapons most of the time. And if you're about soloing them, you can clear them out in like 30 minutes or 20. Like you can see, I just tried soloing it. Like, let's try to looking at this one, for example. And as usual for this game, the game froze again. And here you can see that I Alt-tab to command prompt window. And you can notice that nothing happened. But actually, the CMD window I Alt-tabbed to is now an active window. So all I need to do now is to just press a button. As you can see, I forced terminated the game by simple command I made. I made a batch file which terminates a wolfteam.bin, which is a game executable that runs. I terminate it, then I launch the launcher. This kind of way of restarting the game saves me a lot of time. Because if you have to totally restart the PC because the game froze or something else, it's just gonna take a little more time. So just alt-tabbing to CMD, executing the batch file command I wrote, it's much faster, especially when I had to document all of this PvE farming thing. So it was really necessary to me to use. I don't know about you, but that's how I do with the PvE mode, as it's prone to crashing constantly. And here I am about to start a match alone. And you can see that, where was that moment? Here. You see that I use only default equipment, as I was curious if it's possible to complete medium quality PvE mode solo without using anything, because for example in MNIS non-Steam version items for gold are hellishly expensive. Like per average, if you get in first 30 minutes of playtime a day 3000 gold, and then next 30 minutes another 3000. I didn't fully understand how game calculates playtime bonus with the gold bonus, so roughly in 2 hours of playtime in a day you receive roughly about 10,000 gold, and items there cost like 5,000 gold for one day. Some items like no self-explosion item costs 10,000 gold for one day. So prices are ridiculous, and affording multiple stuff at once may be troublesome. Although there are other ways to get a lot of gold, like leaving the game for a month and then coming back to it and get a 100,000 gold for not playing. I mean, to be exact, you don't need to... sorry, losing my train of thought. Like, I was told that you need your account to be inactive for 15 days. So once 15 days plus has been calculated by the game that the account is inactive for this amount, and the event is not finished in that month, you can pretty much log in and take your returning player reward. But I will come back to it a bit later. Here you see me refilling the ammo. Usually you start with only one grenade, but if you do not throw this grenade and go refill your ammo, you actually refill 3 extra grenades. So that's the strategy. Whoops. This is what happens when you try to transform into a werewolf. If you're close to the walls or any other map geometry obstacle which you are too close, so you gotta pay attention to that, because even little short pixel can decide your fate. A reason why I explode myself is because dying and then respawning in the next wave is faster than trying to get over to the health refill point. Sometimes you just do not have enough time to run to it. So that's one of the kind of strategies. Although, if you care about your kill death ratio though, that's gonna get ruined. Notice this yellow wolf. This one fella explodes and can make a lot of damage to you. So you're gonna avoid him, especially when there's multiple of them. But you may ask why he doesn't explode. Well, the thing is that the game spawns way too much enemies than it can handle. So when, like, for example, maybe 10 enemies attack you at once, so any following enemy is pretty much in waiting queue. And I suppose the lowest tier enemies have the highest priority, when the exploding wolf has the lowest priority. So that's why he doesn't explode when you are in the crowd, in the horde of these enemies. Also, I advise you to use bugged enemy AI in certain places at your advantage. You notice that enemies do not chase you here, as they're just behind this container. For some reason the pathway is broken here, and so you can pretty much sit here and do a casual picking on them. Another thing, jump on enemies to receive less damage. Like, if you're getting crowded by them, you just jump and focus on being on top of them. This way they will miss most of the attacks on you. So that's how you deal with it. Yeah. Peak gameplay, I say. Very peak gameplay. By learning to play the game and get good by learning all of the bugs and glitches to beat it. That's insane shit. So yeah, solo PvE on medium difficulty is more than possible with default only things, but it can take some time and practice. Although I will say one thing, each map has its own challenge level. Not all medium difficulty maps are the same, because certain other maps are way more harder to beat. So this specific map is the easiest one to beat. And here you have a reward of intermediate box and wolf rush box. Intermediate box is given once you complete 5 waves, so you can decide to just let the enemies take out you in the 6th wave. And if you want to get the wolf rush box, you complete 10 waves, means all of them, in the intermediate one. In the expert mode, if I remember correctly, you have to beat 7 or 8, no, 7 waves, or 8. Ah, yes, complete 8 waves on expert to get the expert box. So finish it at 9th wave and don't bother with it any longer. The difference with rookie, intermediate, expert boxes against the Wolf Rush box is that those 3 can be opened freely. Wolf Rush box requires a key, the bronze, silver, and gold. Gold key is actually the key you can get only by paying real money. Silver is the one you pay with wolf coin, and bronze is with the in-game gold currency. So don't mistake that. Unfortunately, for some reason in Steam version, there is no key to buy. None of them. No bronze, no silver, no gold. So playing any PvE mode to its fullest is just for your casual play, I suppose. Because you will be getting them, these Wolfrush boxes, but you will not be able to open them. I guess they just don't care. So if you want to farm them, you can go and play the non-Steam MDs version if you want. But once I show you what kind of rewards you get, they are pretty much not worth your time. Like, absolutely doesn't worth it. The only possible thing I can say about the loot drop you get from PvE is, I don't know, maybe it's feasible to play it that way. If you, for example, play for a couple times a day and you accumulate like 20 or 10 boxes and open them and then decide what trashy weapon to use there, because usual PvE boxes contain only trash stuff. By trash, I mean if, well, low-powered items, I say. I mean, they're okay, like, okay in a sense, like very low-powered weapon stuff. So if you decide to join with the friend and make some kind of a draft play, so to speak, and pick weapons of your choice against each other and play such house-ruled game match. So yeah, go on for it, but in the usual play against pay-to-win stuff, it's just waste of time. But if you want to have silly fun, go on for it. Just don't waste too much time on it. Let me demonstrate you what kind of drop you get from intermediate box. These kinds of weapons are very weak, as they are very old school gold guns from old times. Oak Sam 8, what a classic. But absolutely useless. And look, one day. And EF-2000, another classic weapon. You can also turn off the loot box opening animation by clicking the option of into animation off. Also, I want to highlight the point. Each time when you open 10 boxes at the same time consecutively, you get one extra opening. So I advise accumulating any boxes you can by 10 and opening them by 10 if you want. Although I'm kinda iffy on this regard because item expiration thing is a very tough thing to deal with because each item is on timer. So opening less boxes for later opening when you're ready to use the items you get from them would be a better idea to open less. All because the only thing that's permanent are the boxes which are not opened yet. So that's how you manage these items for later use. And once the item has been opened, it will last for 14 days in the gift box. So you can also redeem them later. Here, look, as I opened them just now, all of them read 14 days left. Firstly, there's two expiration layers. Expiration date on gift box and expiration date on inventory. So all of these weapons will last 1 day, but they last 14 days in the gift box. So you can manage their use 1 by 1 day later, for example. Same goes for most of the items you get from events, as they also will let you redeem them in 14 days. And you can notice that the weapon stats are abysmal. That's one of the weakest rifles in this game ever. and you get them as a reward by playing this very buggy, glitchy game, which can crash in the PvE mode a lot. But this exact weapon can be get for wolf coins for dirt cheap in the Steam version. But in the non-Steam version, you have to do all this frustrating PvE mode crap to get it. Sounds convoluted, I know, but that's how the game is built. Either buy all this pay-to-win stuff directly for cash and no frustration, or be a free player and frustrate yourself with the item giveaway system, which you will be figuring out for months, and also that loot box chance thing as well. Yeah, that's awful. To highlight my point about trash weapons, on your right you will see the new default rifle. 63 damage, 350 headshot, 10 plus damage on wolf, higher accuracy. And this is the default permanent weapon you get from the start. And on the left, that weapon you get as an item you buy for wolf coin for 150 for one day in the Steam version, or by a chance in those rush boxes in the PvE of the non-Steam Omnis version. So yeah, it pretty much makes all of these weapons obsolete. So the only way to make them not so obsolete is that, once again, gather your friends, acquaintances, make some house rules, so you could play only using those trash weapons against other trash weapons. Because the power rating, the power creep, in the terminology of card games, it's just awful. Let me show you how does the game looks in the Steam version. Here you see the login reward as usual, which is a mission one. As I didn't explain it earlier, missions can only be completed when there are 6+ players. If there are less than 6 players, the mission will not be counted. So if it reads conquest mode and play for 60 minutes, if you will be playing by yourself, you and your friend 1v1, the mission will not progress because it's below 6 players. And even if there's 5 players, it will not count. So it will be equal to 6 or more players to progress missions. But you do not need this kind of requirement when you play events. Events can be done with 1 or 2 players. There is also another mission type, bingo. And in bingo you complete multiple challenges in 1 week. But as you can see in Steam version, they decided to put some kind of unreasonable goals to complete, like in PvP mode play 200 times, play for 700 minutes. What kind of shit is that? In conquest mode achieve 500 conquests, and in ice cold mode achieve 150 headshots, all for 10k GP coupon. GP coupon stands for experience points, so it's pretty much useless. And plant a bomb 150 times and defuse it 75 times. Jeez. And once again, all of that with 6+ player rooms. Here it reads the requirements on how to beat it and in what time frame you need to get into it. That it resets each Monday. Although bingo missions do not appear each week. They can appear 1 or 2 times in a month. And I will say that recent bingo missions were far more generous in the non-Steam Omnis version, where you could get 10,000 or 20,000 wolf coins for 2 missions you could complete in like an hour. Well, at least one specific mission of reviving 15 times in Wolf Rush mode can be done in 10 or 30 minutes. So getting 20,000 wolf coins for 30 minutes, it's quite a good deal, I suppose. Yeah, good deal. Playing boring ass mode, doing chore to be able to afford some stuff. Yeah. Something tells me that grinding in Lineage 2 would be a much more fun time. And here is the event window in Steam version. As you can see, there's the burning one, a occasional kind of an event that gives you just GP and gold multipliers you get in matches, but again, those GPs and gold are given in matches that are having 6+ players, so it will be 0 most of the time if you play 1v1, so it doesn't matter. And here's the ranking rewards. So once you play it first time, you will be getting a package of a couple characters of special edition which have 240 health and higher armor rating compared to default one with 200 health. For 30 days you get them each time you rank up. But ranks are finite, I think, so once you get high enough, you pretty much will be screwed. Nothing else will be given after that. And if you get out of the loop, like you were given character just recently for 30 days, you redeemed it from the gift box, and you decide to abandon the game for a month, well, that thing expired. Now go and play with default character, or try to equip that default character with some equipment in the shop, which will hardly compete with it. And once again, as I said, either version you pick, it will be pricey. Although, I will back my word on that, because in Steam version, gold items are cheap, because at least once a week you get either 10,000 gold or 10,000 wolf coin. Wait, or was it 20,000 wolf coin for a login reward in Steam? Yeah, I starting to forget things. Well, good thing that I documented all of that, at least. Although all of this documentation is null because the game shop in either version can update. And thing you could buy for 50,000, like the full weapon upgrade for 50,000 gold in Eminis version, suddenly after several months it becomes an item you can buy only for 50,000 wolf coin, and getting wolf coin is much harder than gold. So yeah, remembering specific numbers is just doesn't matter because it will fluctuate at the whims of the publisher. So I will be better speaking about the overall thing, how to get things, and worry about the specifics when you're planning to play this game at the moment you play. Here you are, as usual, in both versions are met with a lot of cash items, like these weapons. Although in Amni's version, once again, you have far more times when the game decides to give away them for free in certain events. Although nobody will tell you that day when they will give them away as either usual login reward or playtime event, which you can do 1v1. Because on the 10th day of month you do one event, and in the 11th day you do another one, and so you're pretty much forced to, or I mean coerced to, log in daily to just check it out if it's worth to play today or not. I find it rather confusing. And here you see gold characters which are present in both versions, and the pricing on them may be similar, like 5,000 in the Eminis version and 1,700 in Steam version, but the difference not just prices but also the amount you get, the gold. Like in the Eminis version, as I said, in usual gameplay you get far less gold, and in Steam version you are weekly given at least 10,000 or 20,000 gold, so you can pretty much allow it yourself to play like that, especially when each rank up reward gives a lot of gold as well. Although these gold characters are pretty much cosmetic because they share absolutely same stats, just like the default character. Here is the armor pieces, which are sold for wolf coin, although in Eminis version they can be sold for gold. Man, damn, jumping from version to version is so confusing. God damn. Current drastic difference between Steam version and the Eminis version are that you can buy these 5 werewolf overrides for your transformation for gold in Steam version for very cheap price, while in Eminis version you cannot, even for cash. Only as a slim chance drop from the Wolf Rush box, which needs a key. So not feasible in Eminis version to get them. Here you will see me and my friend using these Ice Wolf transformation overrides. And I will say, thing I forgot to mention again is that when you play in the match, you get wolf points, which you use to get other loadouts. WP score you spend on loadouts, so that's the another way of planning your equipment and stuff. But as the time went on, it's pretty much broken shit. As you can see, it's practically useless when you can just use that new default Elvreach M6A2 most of the time when all of that other weapons, gold ones, will cost you those WP points, and it's just not feasible unless you spend them on the premium or other special edition weapons. And heavy weapons cost a lot of WP. So maybe in 2007 WP was kind of a way to up the challenge, but in this day it's just coerces you to buy the item called Power Room Master, which nullifies the cost of WP. That's the reason why me and my friend decided to play in deathmatch mode with Ice Wolf transformation override, because we could play just werewolf only mode, because there are either human only, human werewolf, and wolf versus wolf modes. And it has that option to use Ice Wolf, but it costs WP. And as for our house rule to play only using Ice Wolves, it's pretty much impossible in wolf only mode, because eventually one of us won't be able to afford it in the match, because either of us won't have enough WP points. So either get that Power Room Master item, or play like we did in this match. To get Power Room Master item in Steam version, you need to buy luxury package for 7 days for 20,000 wolf coin. This package includes this item, which lets you play with no WP point cost. And I want to highlight the thing that only one player needs to buy this item, so you can, with your friend, plan out who gets to buy it first, and then the next friend of yours will be buying it, just to stretch out your budget of the wolf coin, which you get once a week in Steam version, like 20,000 as a login reward once a week, and nobody will tell you when that mission happens. Here you can see the effects of Power Room Master. All of the loadouts cost 0 WP. It goes in effect for all of the players who join the room. So if your friend or yourself have the Power Room Master item, it's best that you will be the room master, so the effect of that item would come in effect. This way you can plan out your house ruled game match much more easier. Like, for example, using the X weapon all of the time, like turret or some other weapon that requires a lot of WP points to use. Yeah, this thing is pretty useful. And in MNIS version, you get it pretty regularly as a daily login reward in some weekends. Yeah, or some events. So you can sometimes get it pretty easily for free. Sometimes. Unless if something drastic changes in a year or less. I'm not sure. Man, this goes for way too long. I gotta wrap this thing up much faster than I can. I mean, as fast as I can. I need a drink. And some sweet roll. Also, rockets are broken. They do not make any damage when target is approaching the rocket. So do only splash damage or only the standing still target or when the target backs away. So better hit the map geometry. In all times, Guardian Wolf was a very good bullet sponge. But now his block values have been broken, and he actually receives more damage when he blocks certain attacks, like the knife. "46" knife hits when not blocking, and 19 hits when blocking. What the hell is that? In order to make Guardian working once again, functional, kinda, you need to use Metal Wolf or Iron Wolf Guard items, which you can get for Wolf Coin. But this is exclusive for MNIS version. On Steam you cannot buy them. Iron Wolf Guard can block 6 damage. I mean, not 6 damage, but all incoming damage will equal to 6. Oh, no, sorry, I misread it. Iron Wolf Guard makes incoming damage equal to 8. That's the Metal Wolf one. That's the Metal Wolf Guard. Makes incoming damage equal to 6. Their price difference is 50,000 wolf coin for 30 days. You can get Metal Wolf Guard for 100,000 wolf coin in one set package in Wolfcoin shop. And in Wolfcoin shop, Iron Wolf Guard is sold for 50,000 wolf coin for 30 days. So Iron Wolf Guard is more affordable. Although this 2 HP less makes it far bigger difference actually. And Iron and Metal Wolf Guard allows you to block with absolutely any wolf. You just hit left click mouse button and hold it, then press right click and hold it. Can be quite handy in certain situations. 110 knife hits. Now that's better. And it's Iron Guard, which can be bought for 50,000 Wolf coin. There is another aspect I need to mention about pay to win. It has character cards. Character cards are the only permanent stat upgrade, so it can make quite unfair advantage. And upgrading them can cost a lot. Like, to be able to upgrade a lot of cards, to upgrade characters attached to them, you'll have to spend hundreds of thousands of gold and attend in many events you can. So this is some very bad shit, I say. In MNIS version, when you are a new player, you get your first character card box, which has either 1 or 10 cards, random, which make a first tier upgrade on the stats. Here you can see gold character card box basic for 5,000 gold. And let me remind you, in MNIS version you get barely 10,000 gold in 2 hours of play, excluding any event attendance that give you gold even more. So here I about to spend 100,000 of gold. Once I get first 10 cards of Dwayne Eddy, I will be able to upgrade him. But before upgrading him, let's look how it affects the game once you open your first basic card. Instead of 200 health, you start with now 205. I know it's not a big deal, but you know, such games can be decided by mere single digits. Now let's try to upgrade it, and as you can see, there's other various upgrade stats you can get by chance. Yeah, health, ammo, yeah, and other defense ratings. Let's see the card level 2. Now 207. Hardly an advantage, but you know how it goes. And an upgrade for this amount of cards to spend. I mean, this amount of gold to spend on cards. Ridiculous. And I repeat once again, character cards cannot be disabled. Once you open them, upgrade them, they are forever on you. And it gives quite an unfair advantage over those people who do not want to waste their time grinding all of the in-game currency, all these character boxes to upgrade your character. It just needs so much time to do all that. So it ruins the casual play experience of this game. And some cheaters don't know English. as humans beef up their stats either with character, and wolves as well, and rifles, werewolves beef up their stats with tattoos as well. So several cash tattoos can beef up your character quite a lot. And new tattoos, as I heard, can even one-shot everything with premium character werewolves. And tattoos you get with gold, they are not so powerful. Like, they increase your stats ever so slightly. Although, as I said, events and missions can give you these premium tattoos for free if you do certain tasks at that given day. In Amne's version, you get dormant user reward when your account was inactive for X amount of days. Currently, in Amne's version, it is about 15 days, or a bit more, but I was told it's 15 days. So better log in back at the 16th day. And I want to clarify that in Steam currently there are no events for returning players. Here, as you can see, there's burning event, welcome back. Welcome back is the one that is for returning players. It reads the status complete now. So this month's event for returning players in this account has been completed, and it will refresh the next month. So you can game the system and play a little bit and then abandon the account and grab another returning player in next days or so, once the event will refresh. And pay attention to that, because sometimes that they do not refresh it on time. So first days of the month can be held with no welcome back event. Thus, if you log in back when there is no event, the game now counts you that you're an active player and event reward will not trigger. So better use some kind of a secondary account to check if there is an active event, and then use your currently inactive account to grab the welcome back rewards. Here you get a return character card box, we don't use it, and 200,000 gold coupon and another 100,000 gold coupon, Wolf Dash, and this rifle, backpack, scratch, knife, rifle, and also some monthly box wolves, and that blue tetra is not in that welcome, returning player bundle. It's just a login daily reward. And that human box monthly and tattoo set. Oh, and I almost forgot. A returning player receives 10 Wolf Coin Coupon Jackpot Box, which can either give you more or less than 50,000 Wolf Coin to be able to afford some pricey items, like the Iron Wolf Guard for 50,000 wolf coin for 30 days. Although not all the time 10 jackpot boxes will not jackpot jackpot wolf coin box, sometimes it can give you less than 50,000 and sometimes it can give way more than 50,000. As you can see, it can range from 1,000 up to 500,000 wolf coin, but at the time of me playing it for this long, using multiple accounts, I have never had a chance to open even at least one such jackpot box of 500,000 or even 100,000 even. Yeah, it happens ultra rare, as I suppose. The juicy thing about returning player items is the return character box. It has one character which will last for 180 days, half a year. Although you will either get pretty much a reskinned default character, I mean, like, there will be a different character, but by the stats it will be pretty much the same. Or you will get a special edition character with 240 health, with higher armor rating and some wolf projectile abilities, I mean ranged attacks, and some special claw attack, like when you hit and your target gets slowed when it's hit. Or you can even get premium character, the reboot edition, when characters either have 300 or 330 health and high armor rating. Here I just got a special edition character. So this is a 240 health character. Reboot character, nice. But reboot characters are dropped quite rarely. As you can see, I used 12 twins, and 1 out of 12, only one is this kind of character with 300 health. You may ask, how do I get this many accounts? Do I have this much emails? No. The thing is that the game registration site tells you that it needs verify the account by sending you a mail. But for some reason, actually when you register, it doesn't need account verification to enter the game. So in the email box you can write any gibberish. It doesn't matter. Although, if you forget a password, you will not be able to recover it. So yeah, that's the thing. Oh, and another thing about password in MNIS version when you create an account on Softnix. If your password contains uppercase letters, your password will be mangled. It will not work. And if you try to log in, the game will say incorrect password or login. So just write your password with only small letters and numbers and nothing else. Otherwise, once you register, your password will be screwed. And if you do put some uppercase letters in your password, best case is that they will transform into lowercase ones. But sometimes it doesn't happen. Or despite that, your password will be screwed. Either way. So yeah. The registration process in MNIS version can be tricky sometimes. So if you don't want to bother with registering shenanigans, I just suggest playing the Steam version in this case, because making Steam twinks is much harder than you making Softnix twinks, because you need actual email. Although maybe someday they will update their requirements and limitations, but their site is very outdated. The iffy part about this, the MNIS version, is that sometimes it's not always secure. This time it's secure, but some pages here may not be secure. So yeah, their site management is weird, and most of the time the secure pages is the login window, sign up, and the cache one. Although I never use cache because I'm 100% player. I mean 100 free player. I have to finish this video as soon as possible. Another glaring difference between Steam and MNIS version is that MNIS version does not let you buy most of the gold guns directly. They decided to move them to new gold box item, which can be bought for gold, the in-game currency. And yeah, you can see it costs 20,000 for 10 boxes. And remember, if you open 10 boxes at the same time, you get one extra. So 11 total. Here I will briefly show what kind of drops you get from gold box. I mean, new gold box. you can see that items range from 5 days to 30 days, maybe sometimes 60, or maybe I forget it. Yeah. So most of the drops will always be at 5-day expiration date. And also sometimes those new gold boxes can drop you certain premium guns, or maybe outdated premium guns, which are quite nice. But remember, it's a random box, so chances are to get the specific item you want are slim. And remember, gift box expiration time differs from expiration in the inventory. So take specific items from gift box and leave the rest for later redeeming. This way you can kind of stretch item time a bit. Like you won't be able to use all of the guns at once, so you can take a couple, play with them for 5 days, and in the 5 days you grab another batch, and then next 5 days another batch. No, not another 5 days. Another 5 days would be 15 days. So they will be gone from gift box. So yeah, that's gonna be a hassle to manage all this renting time date thing in this game. Also, when you're about to exit the game lobby, the game will notify you about items that are about to expire, which is when there's 1 day time left or 0 day time left. When it reads 0, it can mean two things. The time is below 1 day, which is roughly maybe less than 12 hours, maybe, or it's totally expired. And once you uh, try to leave the game, like totally exit the game, or just exit the lobby to the server list, the item will disappear. So while you're playing, you can actually do overtime. If you're lucky, your game didn't crash. If you're lucky that you do not have network disconnections. If you're lucky you were not forcibly disconnected by a hacker, because they can do that. You can keep on playing with the expired items as long as you want. So my best advice would be, if you would aim to overtime any item, is to play only PvP mode. Never ever touch a PvE mode, and also do not browse the shop tabs, like the shop, Wolfcoin shop, and other gambling tabs there, because the game is able to freeze, crash in the very main menu if you're spending way too much time switching tabs. By tabs I mean the buttons in the game, pressing those inventory in the shop, that all the stuff. Also, there is quite a hidden game mechanic in the movement of the werewolf, is that when you run on walls, you can do slight vertical jump when you are running. The trick is, once you start running on the wall, you press and hold the strafe key corresponding to the wall you are directing. Of course, if you hold the strafe key while trying to jump on the wall, your wolf will not attach to the wall. So when you want to attach yourself to the wall, you need to be at the direction the wall is facing. I better show it in the video. Like this. As I said, if you try to attach yourself to the wall, only the W key, the forward key must be pressed. So press the strafe key only once you are attached. And to keep running, you need to hold the forward button. And once you're ready to jump, you release the forward key, keeping the strafe key pressed. So that's the trick. In some cases, it can be very advantageous if you want to jump over to the second floor in some maps, or just get onto some ledge and make a surprise attack on your enemy. And if you have only one computer and no friends to farm at least the playtime bonus and playtime event, you can either play as usual or just do AFK farming. Here I am readying the macros which will repeatedly use one action in the range of less than 2 minutes, because if you're AFK for more than 2 minutes, equal to 2 or more 2 minutes, you will be kicked and you will not receive any playtime bonus or playtime event progression. And remember, events and missions are two different things. Events can be done by yourself, one or two players. Well, one in this case. Missions require 6 players, except when in PvE missions they can be done with 2 in PvE mode. In PvP it's 6 players in the mission. So, but we are focused on completing usual playtime bonus and the playtime event that doesn't require anything, just play. Here I will set the game to roar each second. Oh yeah, I forgot about the attendance event. It progresses only once a day, and it triggers each time when you played either 40 minutes or 50 minutes or 1 hour. The requirements of played time varies in versions, or sometimes on the same server version, because I didn't quite catch it. Sometimes attendance event was progressed once I played 40 minutes. The other time when I progressed it for in 50 minutes, and other time was 1 hour. So rule of thumb, 1 hour, or until it says that you completed attendance. So to progress attendance once a day, you need to play for an hour, basically. But playing 1 hour such game for entire month to get all of the attendance rewards, it's quite jarring. So if you must, you just, here I added the values because here why I did that. Here I notice that I'm likely set a too narrow timing window when he is roaring, because he needs to do full roar animation to replenish Wolf's secondary temporary health, which he always replenishes each time he roars. And if he roars all of the time, enemies basically cannot kill him. So when you're doing your macros, in this case, you need to have this in mind. So I edit the timing of macros inputs, and then I take out several enemies, I mean all of them except one, and here I stand in the place where they bug or not, doesn't matter. And that's how I done it that time. Just put my macros on repeat, and I went on doing my business while the game was counting my playtime. So I got these event goodies. So basically, to win in a game, you don't need to play it, basically. And all you need to do is AFK macros. Another way to get certain items is the Forge. Forge is basically a gamble roulette. You either pay wolf coins, gold, or cash. You pay either of these currencies, which all of the time are quite high, and then roll the 5 rounds. I mean, not roll the 5 rounds, I mean, you can roll maximum 5 rounds. But when I try to gamble most of the time, many times it failed to make even at least past the second round. Sometimes there can be good stuff in the Forge, but let's consider the fact that there's a slim chance of getting the item you want. It's one big gamble, and you can spend lots of currency. Also, Forge updates their contents occasionally and their pricing. So whatever footage you see here, the contents of it, it will change over time. Not to mention, Forge and WPAC are timed, are enabled sometimes. Sometimes they disappear, sometimes they reappear. VPAC or WPAC is one of the ways to also get some goodies. And as one game acquaintance I know has told me that sometimes there are items that are sold for wolf coins. Quite rarely, but they happen. But most of the time WPAC is for cash spenders. I mean, those who spend real cash. Sometimes loot event happens. Yeah, that's the design of their page. Outdated as hell. So the goal of loot event is that you collect letters in X amount and you exchange them for the goodies, which are shown here. So to progress loot event you need to collect letters, as I said, and you get them by searching enemy backpacks. But remember, this loot event triggers only when there are 6 or more players in the match. Or search backpacks of your teammates. There's no difference. Just search all of the backpacks. Unfortunately, this loot event can be a hassle to complete because even collecting 40 letters can waste a lot of time. Because enemies, most of them just don't care for the loot event. Many of them are probably not aware that such loot event is a thing. So most of the time, nobody gives the time to search backpacks. So once again, you need a friend who will help you search backpacks. Yeah, just like that. That was me, by the way, as I once again used multiple PCs at the same time, which I find utterly ridiculous to need to have multiple computers to play a freaking online shooter because you have to progress certain missions, events, because players are not cooperative at all. And all of that challenge with all of this pay to win, cheaters, no matchmaking, frequent crashes, bugs, glitches, all of that is just not worth the electricity, time, and especially money. I say that following schedule, doing all of these missions, events, is gonna exhaust you. Sure, someone will say that it's compensating the vast majority portion of the game that is pay to win, that you can get all these pay to win items, cash, only when you complete all these events for free. But all this free stuff, it requires you to waste lots of time. So the trade-off is just so scummy, kind of. Like, there will be some people that will say that they do not spend cash, they do not do that and that for cash. They all got it for free, so no pay to win. Technically, yes, they didn't pay to win. So I say they wasted tons of time to win. Don't know what could be said, what kind of term can be figured out. Grind to win, maybe? Yet, grind to win would be a bad term if we would refer to MMORPG, where core gameplay thing is that you grind for tons of shit each level for years. But thing is that this game is a player versus player primarily, which is basically a Counter-Strike clone with werewolves instead of knives. So I just can't even. To play this game for free, you have to accumulate all this freaking knowledge and always know all of that. Doesn't sound like an easy game to me. You know, lack of matchmaking is the least of its problems. Because you can either make a deal with that skilled player so he could teach you to play better, or that he would make some kind of make some holding back or something, or don't play with them, and find someone your size. What an ironic word I just used. Size. Okay, back to the point. Considering the fact that how you get premium stuff for free by doing all of that time wasting tasks, which are grindy as hell and barely completable in natural gameplay, as there's tons of pay to win players or hackers. It's quite useless to recommend it for casual play, because everything is set up against the absolute free player. So the only way to play this game is with friends or some play group, which you together build some kind of a house ruling where you will be using the given weapons you have at easy disposal, like either default rifles and stuff without using any tattoos, using only gold weapons which are cheap, or together hold only the bare minimum of certain events you all agree to complete. So the only way to play it is by self-limitation, so to speak, and not play with players who decided to waste their time to get all this stuff, which I remind you, nothing here is permanent. All of the items you waste your time are either last 1 day, 3 days, and maybe some 7 days, and you're back grinding them again and again, each day, each week, each month, entire year, turning your game time into a, no, not a job. And when you have to play, quote unquote, doing all of these repetitive tasks in most boring way, which can be also unstable, like with the, excuse me, I got a little bit interrupted back to review. So, how I would summarize all of that? Like I said in the beginning, either just don't play it, or was I said in the beginning? I forgot already. Either way, don't play it, or if you want to, I suggest you make it as easy as possible. Do not bother with all of these quests at all. Like, do only couple of them if you want. But if you feel like if they pressure you too much, just don't do them. And find a like-minded player who will play the same way as you do. Form a group and play by your own set rules, like I did some time ago. Like in this instance, when I managed to gather 3 other players, and we were playing only with default rifle and Ice Wolf transformation override. Also, another thing, Funny Games netcode allows you to make mutual fragging. Just like that. We clone each other at the same time. Although the game still counts the order who fragged first. So if you go for the same score count and the timer goes off, the game match ends who actually fragged first. But pretty much, yeah, you can shoot and claw anyone at the same time. Maybe it's a bug, but I find it as a very interesting feature. Although in this game it's impossible to make a draw. There's only victory or defeat, no draw, as the game will by default assign blue team as a winner if score is the same. And just to remind once again how these cheaters can be vicious, watch this. This prick is using human form in wolf-only deathmatch mode, fist-fighting everyone, and not dying, actually. Because each time you take him out, it doesn't count as a frag. You may ask, why I do all of this? All of this was done for Big Wolf Booty. I hope the information was helpful in discovering this game's issues. There's far more nuanced information there in my YouTube and Steam guide. They will be in the video description, so follow these playlists and other stuff. Comment if you want, I'll answer your questions. Maybe I should make some frequently asked questions section. Who knows? Maybe I'll do it, maybe not. I should probably make next video about making certain organized playgroup challenge for casual play. Yeah, that's gonna be taking less time to make. Although this review was mostly about the game's economy rather than how it plays, what's the plot, and all of this stuff. But I guess I did enough for this video. It already took 2 hours to make. I mean, the video lasts 2 hours actually. I was doing jump cuts for entire day. And let me remind you, I was not using any video editing programs. Like nothing. I just was recording the screen and was hitting the pause. That's it. So until next video, farewell, goodbye, take care.